Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, my name is Karel, but I won't talk about the change to renewables. That's something that my colleague Peter will do. I will talk to you about our change toward a data community in North Sea Port. So I hope that everybody had a great lunch and are fully charged for this afternoon program. And I'm also very delighted to stand here in front of you and take you along our journey towards a North Sea Port data community. So in the following minutes, I would like to tell you the why behind this ambition and also the most important principles we will use to make that ambition a real goal. But first, let me start by introducing North Sea Port, who we are and what we do. So North Sea Port is quite a unique port. It's a newcomer to the ranks of the European ports, as it is a result of the merger between the Dutch ports of Vlissingen and Terneuzen, so that's in the Netherlands, and the Belgian port of Ghent. So we are, so to say, the youngest port in Europe. That's quite unique, right? When you look at it at that perspective. Well, maybe not so unique when you look at it in a global supply chain perspective. Traditionally, the performance of a port is measured by metrics such as gross weight tonnages and TEUs. And when you look at it from that perspective, North Sea Port is in the top 10 of the European ports. Top in position 8, so to say. We do like 64 million of seaborne traffic in our port. So yeah, that's quite okay. But what we see now is that there's also a change towards other metrics. Metrics such as the availability of a port being visible as a node in the global supply chain context. And when you look at it from that perspective, then yeah, we're as North Sea Port are not that unique as we would think. So that's exactly what we want to reach. My name is Karel, and I would like to talk with you about our ambition and the change towards a data community to make this possible. We are all aware of the fact that we daily operate in a complex context. We see big disruptions coming up. We see disruptions in the supply chain, geopolitical disruptions, and we also see disruptions on the face of digital transformation. And data is a pretty important driver for that change or for that digital transformation. And we, as North Sea Port, as a port authority, wants to make true or wants to provide that support to our port community, to our customers, to our stakeholders, to embark on the journey towards a data community. And yeah, the most important baseline in that ambition is that we want to start from customer intimacy. We see that as a big and an important foundation for a digital transformation with focus. And yeah, the key word is also understanding, because you can't understand something, you can't transform something you don't understand. So that's the baseline. Beautiful ambitions, right? But yeah, what could we imagine about that data community? Well, we see when that data community is established that it can enable a digital nervous system on top of the physical infrastructure in our port. We are, as a port authority, we have a lot of experience in building physical infrastructures, quay walls, roads, so to say. But we believe that by enabling that trapped data, that we can ensure a digital nervous system on top of that physical infrastructure to feed the port processes and to optimize it also. And what will it look like in the end? Well, we believe, first important point is that we want to mobilize in that data community data, of course, to create value. I think this morning there was a pitch from Mr. Noordhoek from Nextport, and he had it about trapped data and to unlock that trapped data to create value. Well, that's exactly the point that we want to reach. Also, another important thing is that we want to provide a matchmaking function towards our port community. We are very aware of the fact that we, as a port authority, don't have all the knowledge and the answers in mind. And we strongly believe in the power of the ecosystem. So we want to also make connecting with proven technology, port community systems, data sharing platforms, solution providers. We want to enable that. And in the end, we also want to provide a sort of marketplace toward our port community, where they can find digital solutions on their demand. And the baseline of this whole story is that we want to do this with and for our port community. That's the most important part of it. Okay, that was the part about digital transformation. Now I will give the microphone to my colleague, Peter Geertse, and he will talk about our other ambition, the change toward renewables. Thanks a lot.
Yes, thank you very much, Karel. Yes, completely different topic within the North Seaport, but not only in North Seaport, but also other ports are dealing with that, is that the world is changing, full of challenges and opportunities, because traditional tank terminals have to change to storage of liquid CO2, hydrogen, ammonia, bio-LNG, LNG, and ports have to adapt to that. So we're very keen on coping with those transformations within the port, but also supporting the tank terminal operators in their challenges. One of the main challenges within our port, but also in the rest of, for instance, the Netherlands and Belgium, is the change from natural gas to hydrogen. Our region is already a very important leading hydrogen hub, but presently all the hydrogen produced is grey hydrogen and will soon be changed into blue hydrogen. Blue hydrogen means storage of CO2 into North Sea oil and gas fields, so-called CCS. But right now we are developing the area, and not only the area, but also the rest of Northwestern Europe into a hydrogen economy. We do that together with grid operator Gasunie on the Dutch side, who is presently developing a hydrogen grid in the 5 industrial clusters: Rotterdam, Zeeland, Amsterdam, Groningen and Gemmelot, Limburg. And we expect to be ready in 2026 with a regional network, and closer to 2030 with a national network connecting also with Germany, Belgium, France, etc. What we do with Gasunie on the Dutch side, we do in Belgium with Fluxys, who is the national grid operator there, transforming part of the natural gas infrastructure into a hydrogen infrastructure. And the two grids will be connected to each other. So the Dutch grid will be connected to the Fluxys grid and the other way around. And then also connecting, for instance, France and the rest of Belgium. Why are we the largest hydrogen cluster? That's because we have quite a lot of industries already dealing with hydrogen. You see a refinery like Zeeland Refinery doing about 150,000 tons of hydrogen already now. A company like Dow Chemicals, Yara, the largest fertilizer plant in Europe, and ArcelorMittal. And they all are going to increase their use of hydrogen. So presently we're using approximately 580,000 tons of hydrogen, so-called grey hydrogen, soon to be blue hydrogen. But that will change into green hydrogen by using offshore wind power, transferring it into green hydrogen with electrolyzers. We have projects up to 3.6 gigawatt of electrolyzers in our port area. Big names like Ørsted, 1 gigawatt, ENGIE with Equinor, another 1 gigawatt, and some smaller projects between 100 megawatt and 1 gigawatt. We expect most of those projects to be ready around 2025, 2026. Then the other challenge is CO2. We have a lot of CO2 emission in our port area because we are pretty much an industrial port. And we expect in 2024, 2025 to store approximately 6.5 million tons of CO2 into North Sea oil and gas fields. That's quite a challenge for terminal operators and industries because you have to liquefy that, you have to store it, and you have to ship it out or move it by pipeline. Sometimes subsidies are involved, but with the present ETS price and natural gas prices, probably not. And as a port, we have to prepare for that because we need jetties, we need quay walls to cope with those vessels, and also the vessels need to be available as well. But for terminal operators, it's a new market, it's a new opportunity, and it will replace sooner or later the fossil fuel industry. And we can only manage to do that when there's a regional cooperation between the industries and the tank terminal operators. And in Zeeland and southwestern Netherlands and Belgium, we do that via smart delta resources. Biogas is another growing commodity. Production of biogas to insert it in the natural gas grid, but also bio-LNG seems to be one of the fastest growing fuels for vessels, but also trucks moving on LNG. And you see oil companies investing in bio-LNG plants, and that has to be stored as well, it has to be shipped, so also their tank terminal operators have to adapt and also make sure that bunkering facilities will be there. Yes, bunkering facilities. Ships are changing their way of energy. Right now you see a lot of changes for a company like Maersk, but also CMA CGM, Dame Offshore, they're changing to LNG, to ammonia, to methanol. And also their tank terminal operators have to take care of that. And not only that, also the port needs to be sure that all those facilities, bunkering facilities, will be available. And that's quite a challenge for a port, because you need space for that. You need to reinvent the area, make sure there's sufficient jetty capacity available. So there, I think tank terminal operators and ports need to cooperate and make sure that it's already in time for the changes in the industry. So we can only make that happen by cooperating with the tank terminal operators. Most of them will be in the conference and the exhibition as well. We have quite a few in our port area on the Dutch side as well as on the Belgium side. And yeah, well, anyone who wants to participate in our challenges, feel free to join us with the import of hydrogen carriers, the export of liquid CO2, and the import and export of renewables. Thank you very much.